Alright, block there, kill that. Oh, that is trample. Guess I'm just dead on board.
Hello everyone, welcome to another gameplay by Dead on Board. Today I am the one editing the video, not Steve. My name is Fernando. I've been playing on the channel for quite a while, so you might probably remember me from other gameplay and stuff. If you don't understand my accent, I'm sorry. I can't help it. That's how I am. But I hope you can, uh, make a sense of what I'm saying. With that being said, we are being joined today by two of our Discord members, one of them being Lexi and the other one being Wash. They were able to join us because they are part of our Discord and we ping the server almost every week to play with us. Not always the four members of Dead on Board are available, so we always need one or two slots to be filled. So if that's something that interests you, join it. Link in the description down below. You might get to play with us, which is very cool. That being said, let's go to the gameplay video. First in turn order, we have Lexi playing Elsha of the Infinite. It's a control list that relies on her commander and Sensei Divining Top and a cost reducer to assemble an engine and either win it eventually by finding cards and assembling a combo, or just by value. Usually a combo is how it ends, how it finishes the game. Second in turn order is Rick with Najeela. Najeela is a tempo commander. Everyone knows her. She's very strong. 5 colors, multiple 2-card combos. Play her, protect her, eventually win. Not much to say about it. I've always liked her, and I've played her a couple of games too. She's in the channel. She's very strong, so she's always a menace at the board. Third in turn order, we have Wash with Kalamax, which is a commander I don't see that often, but I'm pretty impressed with, as you will see in this gameplay. A lot of value, a lot of grinding power, very hard to interact with it on the stack when Kalamax is out there, just because he gets double copies of things. Very fun commander to see do its thing, actually. I was very impressed by it. And then finally, we have myself with my Kodama Tymna deck, which I've been loving lately. It's pretty much a Stax list that puts hate bursts and swings and kills people, and eventually finds either a combo in the form of a Luren Edhrec, or literally just by beating people with Elish Norn or some kind of anthem effect or something like that. But I've been having a lot of fun with it. Kodama is a very cool card to break party with. Into the game we go. Turn 1, Lexi plays a training center into a Mystic Remora, and everyone complains about it because turn 1 Mystic Remora is broken.
And then I'll cast a Mystic Remora to be friendly.
Oh no.
to be friendly.
Yeah, and then I'll pass the turn if there are no responses.
What was the unfriendly play?
After we kind of agree to not feed in the Mystic Remora, Rick doesn't really care about it. He tops deck a Jewel Lotus, which he plays, not paying for the Remora. He then plays a Scalding Tarn, which cracks into a Taiga. He ends the turn by casting Najeela by cracking the Lotus. It resolves, which is a really big deal for Najeela players. A turn 1 Najeela is very dangerous. And then he casts Fiendhorn Elves that gets countered by Lexi's Mental Misstep, which he pays 2 life for. Wash, being the savior of the table, starts his turn by playing a Taiga, and then following up with a Paradise Mantle, for which Lexi draws a card from Mr. Remora, and then cast a Lightning Ball onto the Najeela, which is very important because it alleviates the pressure from the table. Unfortunately, Lexi gets to draw another card from the Remora. We then move into Fernando's turn. Fernando's turn, which is obviously me, but I'm gonna refer to that as Fernando. He plays a Bountiful Promenade. He follows it up with a Soul Ring, not paying for Remora, but then taps a Soul Ring to cast a Thorn of Amethyst, which makes non-creature spells cost 1 more. And the thought process was that even though Lexi is drawing a lot of cards, this thing is gonna stop it and actually make it so that she has to discard to hand side. And so we start turn 2, in which Lexi lets the Mystic Remora die in upkeep due to the trigger, and just So everyone is aware that was a 1 mana, draw 5 cards, which is a tremendous amount of value. She then proceeds to play a flooded Strand and passes, discarding to hand size, which makes Fernando think that the plan worked. Maybe. She discards a Spire of Industry and a Rhystic Study. And Rick picks up his turn by just simply playing a Polluted Delta and passing to Wash. And also, following Rick's trend of simple turn, Wash just plays a Botanical Sanctum and plays a Soul Ring for the 2 mana due to the Thorn of Amethyst being into play. With Wash passing, Fernando has a simple turn too. He just plays a Forest and passes, and at his end step Lexi cracks a Flooded Strand for a Triumph, the Jeskai Triumph. And that's it. That's turn 2. Turn 3 starts by Lexi just playing a Hallowed Fountain, paying 2 life and casting a 3 mana copy artifact which resolves and copies the Soul Ring. In the meantime, Rick also cracked his fetch and got a Tundra into the battlefield. Continuing with the trend of simple turns, Rick just plays an Overgrown Tomb tap, so he pays no life, and then plays 2 mana for a Carpet of Flowers, again 2 mana because of the Thorn of Amethyst. Wash's turn starts just by him playing a Mountain and then tapping out 5 mana for both casting Kalamax, which resolves, and equipping the Paradise Mantle onto him. That's all that he has to do. Passes the turn. At an end step, Fernando casts an E-Tutor, finding Aluren. Aluren right now costs 5 mana, and that's something that Fernando didn't realize at that point in time. But now in Fernando's turn, he actually does realize that this costs 5 mana, and it's very sad because the land he plays is Gaia's Cradle, and with no creatures in play, that's like not having a land. So he has to pass right after just playing the Gaia's Cradle. On to turn 4, Lexi just plays Elsha and passes, having her main key of the engine in play now. And then Rick, wanting to leave some mana up for interaction, decides not to play Najeela, and he just plays a tap land that I can't quite make the name for, but it's just a dual land that taps for mana. After Rick passes is Wash's turn, and he plays a Bloodstone Mire that he cracks for a Volcanic Island. He also plays Farseek for 3 mana again, and fetches a Tropical Island into the battlefield tapped. After that, he's done for the turn. He passes the turn, and Fernando flashes a Restoration Angel onto the battlefield. Fernando then moves to his turn and plays a City of Brass, and he immediately moves and casts Aluren for 5 mana. He tries really hard to convince Wash not to counter it, but that doesn't work.
What if that one card? I don't know what it is that I'm expecting to be like my nightmare scenario that I've never accounted for.
With one card, you can just counter whatever I would like play, maybe.
Oh, don't listen to him. This is his thing.
His thing.
I've never been able
He's
to use these cards.
already
God
playing
damn it.
politics.
I already have
Jeez.
one, just one card. I promise I'm not doing anything crazy. How about that? So it does get countered by a Spell Pierce. Fernando just moves to combat and swings 3 in the air at Wash in retaliation. Turn 5 starts by Lexi just playing nothing and moving to end step and discarding a Spell Pierce. She's having trouble finding lands. Rick, regretting not playing Najeela the turn before because he wanted to leave interaction up, doesn't fall for it again, and he plays a Mana Confluence, gets 2 mana from Carpet of Flowers, and then casts Najeela. Wash turn is pretty simple, plays Sylvan Library for 3 mana, and passes the turn. Fernando's turn seems to be a very normal one, just by playing Wooded Bastion, casting Tymna, and then swinging at 3 for Wash with the Angel, and then losing 1 health and drawing 1 card with Tymna trigger and the second main phase. At end step though, things get a little bit crazy because Lexi decides to cast a Wear targeting the Thorn of Amethyst in Fernando's side of the board. No one really responds to that, which opens a lot of options for both Lexi and Wash. Now there is no taxing effect on non-creature spells. Lexi decides to cast Lotus Petal from the top of her library thanks to Elsha. Wash, knowing how key Elsha is to Lexi's strategy, decides to try to kill her by casting a Reality Shift. But Lexi doesn't like this plan and casts a Swan Song, targeting the reality shift. However, Wash is also full of interaction and taps Kalamax, getting a counter, a +1/+1 counter on him, and casting a red elemental blast with it the original and the copy both targeting at the Swan Song. Lexi sees this opportunity to cast Force of Negation from the top of her library targeting Reality Shift, which would save her Elsha from dying. Everyone is okay with this, and the stack resolves up until the Lotus Petal is there. At that point, Rick decides to also get into the mix of countering things or killing stuff and cast a Pyroblast targeting Elsha again. Lexi, trying to protect Elsha at all costs, in response casts a Personal Tutor, putting a Gitaxian Probe on top, and then paying 2 life and Gitaxian Probing Wash to see his hand, which is full of counter spells, and draws a card. She then has to let everything resolve, and unfortunately for her, Elsha dies. With this crazy turn, we move to turn number 6. Turn number 6 starts with Lexi trying to get Elsha back into the battlefield again. She casts a Jeska's Will for 3 mana, and that would get her 6 mana. This resolves and she gets 6 red mana.
So it's on to me. I would like to cry. I would like to put my sadness on the
Option.
stack.
Not an option.
Prosperity and your sadness.
Prosperity, you get your mana.
Okay, cool deal. So 6 red mana.
No, if crying's on the stack, it's blue mana.
Jesus Christ. Okay, maybe blue. It doesn't matter. She is able to cast Elsha again and then cast a Mox Amber with Elsha from the top of her library. Rick, in his first main phase before combat, he plays a Watery Grave, taking 2 damage. He then gets 2 mana from Capital Flowers and plays an Utopia Sprawl, targeting Taiga and naming blue. He then tries to move to combat, but Wash responds by casting a Winds of Rebuke, copying it with Kalamax and getting a +1/+1 counter on his commander, targeting Najeela. Everyone mills 4 cards, notably Lexi milling Brain Freeze, and Najeela just bounces back to Rick's hand. Rick just goes to the second main phase and casts Najeela again, passes, and then we just move into Wash's turn. Wash triggers his Sylvan Library during his draw and decides to keep 1 extra card with Sylvan Library, losing 4 health. He then plays a Command Tower and casts a Preordain, screening 1 to the top, 1 to the bottom and drawing. He finishes his turn by casting Baral, Chief of Compliance, and passing the turn to Fernando. Fernando starts by casting Anafensa the Foremost in his first main phase and then moving to combat. He swings the Angel at Wash and Tymna at Rick, hoping for no blocks, but Rick decides to block and they both trade their commanders. On the second main phase, Fernando just casts a Bloom Tender and passes the turn. Lexi, not giving up, in turn 7, she goes for a really good play if it resolves. It's a reshape where executes 1, sacrifices a Mox Amber. Everyone knows that this will get Sensei's Divan in top, so Rick tries to delay her by casting Delay. And then Lexi tries to counter that spell by casting Dispel. Dispel resolves and she has a Sensei's Divan in top. She then passes to Rick. During his first main phase, Rick gets 2 mana from Carpet of Flowers and decides to just cast Najeela. He then moves to end step, and at his end step, Wash casts a Growth Spiral, putting a copy extra on the stack because of Kalamax. Out of those Growth Spirals, he is able to find 1 island that he puts into play. Wash moves through his draw step, not triggering Sylvan Library, and deciding to keep mana up, all he does is play a land for turn, Windswept Heath, and attack Fernando for 7. He then passes. Fernando casts Tymna, which resolves and immediately moves to combat. He swings Anafensa at Wash and the Angel at Rick. Anafensa triggers and puts a +1/+1 counter on the Angel, and they both take 4 damage. This means he can pay 2 life and draw 2 cards post main phase, which he does and draws 2 cards. Following that, he tries to cast Kodama, but Wash does not like the idea of a Kodama and counters it with a delay. Fernando cannot do anything about it, and his commander goes to the command zone. Wash is also able to loot from Baral's trigger, so he draws and discards 1 card. Being turn 8 and with only 3 lands in play, Lexi is desperate to find lands. She uses Sensei's Divining Top during her upkeep to rearrange the top 3 and finds the lands that she was looking for.
Got a top 3. Hey, lands. Finally.
She then moves to her main phase, plays Reflecting Pool, and taps Sensei's Divining Top to draw the top card of her library. She follows it up by casting a Mox Diamond, discarding a Sea of Clouds, and also a copy artifact, which resolves and enters as a copy of Sol Ring. She then casts Sensei's Divining Top from the top of her library, but Wash does not like this idea, and negates twice, getting a +1/+1 counter on Kalamax. In response, Lexi casts Dramatic Reversal from the top of her deck, but doesn't really do much other than untapping her non-land permanents. The stack resolves, Sensei's Divining Top gets counter, and Barrel triggers, but Wash decides not to use it. Rick moves straight to combat, trying to put some pressure on Wash. In response to moving to combat, Wash cracks his fetch, losing 1 life, and also casts Return of the Wild Speaker, copying it with Kalamax. This would net him a +1/+1 counter on Kalamax and also 9 cards 2 times, so a total of 18 cards. After Return of the Wild Speaker resolves, Rick still moves to combat and attacks Wash with Najeela, which triggers, produces a token, and the token gets blocked by Barrel. So Wash takes 3 damage. On the second main phase, Rick casts Diabolic Intent, sacrificing Najeela. He tries to look for a card that may help the situation. He was thinking out Windfall, but he didn't have Windfall in this deck, so he ends up going for a Cyclonic Rift. With the 3 mana from Carpet of Flowers and the rest of his lands, he is able to cast Cyclonic Rift. Wash responds with a Pact of Negation, targeting Cyclonic Rift, and Rick actually has a response to that by casting a Flusterstorm where Wash would have to pay 5 extra mana. He targets the Pact of Negation, but Wash just pretty much ignores it and then uses a Pyroblast targeting the original Cyclonic Rift, getting countered. It's important to mention that Lexi actually had a Pact of Negation here, but she couldn't really do much because Cyclonic Rift resolving meant that she would not be able to pay for it, which made it kind of like Kingmaking. She was gonna lose anyway whether she casted it or not. Stack clears, Cyclonic Rift gets counter, and also Wash casts Rapid Hybridization on Elsha to get her out of the battlefield for when he's comboing in his turn. Wash starts the turn by getting an extra card from Symbol Library and taking 4 damage, and then going for his combo in the form of Isochronous Scepter, Dramatic Reversal, and generating infinite mana from Sol Ring and Kalamax being equipped with Paradise Mantle. He then overloads a Cyclonic Rift and ends it up with a combo in the form of Heat Shimmer and Dual Caster Mage, getting infinite mages, attacking everyone for the win. So there it is, that's the game. It was a very fun game, very interactive, with many situations in which a lot of things could have happened. Lexi had a really strong turn 1 with Mystic Remora and drawing 5 cards, so she was a threat throughout the whole game and she needed to be stopped several times. Rick had a turn 1 Najeela, which would have been extremely dangerous if it hadn't been for Wash and his Lightning Bolt. He really bought everyone else time. After that, Rick had to leave mana up and felt like he needed to control the board a little bit because he was far behind. Fernando made a couple of mistakes, mainly the one with Alluren and tutoring for it when he couldn't even cast it, and then he was not able to develop his draw engine in the form of Tymna, which also hurt him a lot. Finally, Wash, the winner, played it all really well. He was able to keep interaction for when it mattered, and counter the key pieces that he needed to counter to make sure that no one else was able to win. So congratulations to him.
Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I just wanted to let you know that we have a TCG affiliate link, and if you ever see a card you want to try or are inspired to brew something new, use our link when purchasing and we'll receive a small portion of the sale. This is a great way to support the channel, and if you enjoyed the gameplay, please leave a like and subscribe, as it really helps us keep making videos. And remember, never give up, even if you're dead on board. I'll see you guys later.